for his second consecutive Big East Conference championship, and he has already been named the Conference Coach of the Year this season. It's been a fine year for the Orangemen.
Tim Higgins being warmed up in goal. Not doing as much diving onto the ground as goalkeepers usually do when they warm up. I think he wants to stay dry.
Can't blame him for that. Right now, it's really a very light drizzle, but the rain has been coming in spurts, and when it has rained, it's rained real hard. Field for the time being seems to be holding it pretty well. We'll see what happens as they run around here in the second half. Syracuse puts it in play. We are underway here in the second half. Mr. Johansson sends it out wide to Ron Dornow. Ball goes over the line, and the Pirates will throw it in. Ed Haig, number 5. Sophomore from Westfield, New Jersey. Threw it into Brian Hammond. He's a freshman from Dublin, Ireland. Across the field it goes, off the leg of O'Kelly and out. Mark Damani throws it into Greg Kaloji, who's back out there to start the half. He crosses it out in front, and Haig sweeps it away from an oncoming Morris. Syracuse gets the corner kick. They had one in the entire first half. This is their second.
You don't like to set up a corner kick, but in that case, Haig with a very wise play to clear it away, because if he had tried to clear it to his goalkeeper, he would have been doing it on an off-balance foot. And in that situation where you not only had one player breaking in, but another one from a farther angle for Syracuse, you're just setting up too much of an opportunity if you get a bad hit on the ball.
Line drive blocked by the Pirates. Dornow with it outside the area for Syracuse. Chips it back toward the middle, headed away by Ian Hennessy. Dornow, Ron Dornow, the senior, to Scott Oceani. Kicked out. They said it deflected out off Oceani. Syracuse fans below us groaning on that call, and Oceani is still yelling at the linesman. Greg Kaloji, the senior from Ludlow, Massachusetts, tried to feed it through to Scott Morrell. It's blasted back by the Pirates. Race for the ball. One of the Orangemen, Schaefer, went down. Matashak is back in after being injured in the first half. He leaves it for Hennessy. Knocked off the ball by Dornow. Hennessy tried to climb over the back of Oceani to get it. He was called for the foul. Seton Hall wins the ball back. Mullen got pushed off the ball. Now it's George Nazario for the Pirates. Blocked by Kaloji. Syracuse looks to counterattack. Morrell trying to go along the Morris. Hammond and Morris race after it. Brian Hammond gets there first. Kicks it into the seats, and Syracuse will throw it in. Greg Kaloji throws it quickly into Morris. He's called for a violation on the throw-in, and Seton Hall will throw it in. The Pirates a bit careless in front of their own bench. We played nearly 3 minutes here in the second half of the Big East Conference Championship game. Seton Hall leads Syracuse 1-0 on a goal by Ian Hennessy at 10-10 from Hughes and Matashak. Damani for Syracuse. Lost it to Matashak. Now Ian Hennessy. Hennessy's 6'2", and I'd say about 5'11" of it is legs.
Yeah, and I would say he's probably about, what do they have him listed at for weight? He's 170 pounds at 6'2". That's about 5 pounds more than I weigh.
His legs
at 5'11". Yeah.
Morris could not keep it in. Shows a little bit of the frustration as he kicks at it. Orangemen starting to mutter at each other. I don't know if the level of frustration is beginning to pick up. They can't be enjoying being picked out in the rain again.
Well, judging from a couple of the opportunities that Seton Hall had in the first half, they're trying to communicate with each other a little bit more, or at least promote some communication. And again, we see the ball dying in front of that area now.
Greg Kaloji Out wide it goes to Morris. That spins away from Morris. He slid, couldn't keep it in. The throw-in went in the direction of Matashak, kicked out by Paulson, and Haig will throw it in.
Woo.
Down to the ground goes Matashak. Paulson's already received the yellow card.
Well, he was definitely playing for the ball on that. You just tell by the way he put his foot in there, but his leg really caught a lot of Matashak.
Hammond laid it off to Hughes, tried to get it back to Hammond. It was blocked by Morris. Schaefer ahead to Morrell. Morrell has Kaloji out to his left. Plays it for Kaloji. Kaloji can run like the wind. Nazario is back there. Kaloji goes left. Puts it out in front, and Higgins covers the ball with Morrell moving in. DeMonte also there for Syracuse.
And again, we see Syracuse managing to get a man wide in position to feed it into the area and getting more than one cutter into the area. And when you do that, you've set up some width to your offense, which can be very, very dangerous. The goalkeeper can only concentrate on one man at a time.
Ron Dornow, a long shot with the left foot, went wide. 39 and a half minutes to play, second half. Seton Hall 1, Syracuse nothing.
Of course, a quick counter that time by Syracuse also works very well because the Seton Hall defense has been setting up very well and very quickly. But if you can beat that defense back, and in this particular case, they got behind the key man. They got in behind Brian Hammond, and he's been quarterbacking the defense today.
All right, Murphy.
Ball goes out. Syracuse will throw it in. Ron Dornow.
Here's Brian Hammond. Now this time they beat him downfield. This is a rarity. Hammond is the man at midfield who sets up the defense and really even sets up a lot of the offense. For a freshman, he's very heady. He's out of Dublin, Ireland, and he sets up a lot of the play. Quarterbacks things back there. He stays back at midfield when the offense sets up, and he even calls the switching assignments from back to front for his teammates. It's having a guy back there like that allows forwards like Hennessy and Matashak to be a little creative. All they have to worry about is scoring and getting into the area. They don't have to worry about what happens when the ball goes back. Hammond's back there.
The rain has stopped for the time being. Just a very light drizzle falling. The wind's still gusting, and it's the back of Syracuse at the moment. Morris, another ball in the direction of Kaloji. He and Nazario race after it. Nazario gets there first, plays it toward the line. DeMonte kept it in for the Orangeman. Kaloji back to DeMonte, looking for the cross. Blocked and taken away by O'Kelly. He looks to move up the line. Pat O'Kelly. Out to midfield to Hughes. Hughes, the freshman of the year in the South Division in the Big East Conference this season. Now Massengill, still another freshman. 8 freshman starters on the Pirate roster. Scott Morrell assisted on the only goal yesterday for Syracuse in the 1-0 win over Connecticut. Long ball to Morris, but he's offside.
Syracuse offside. Seton Hall free kick.
37 and a half minutes to play in the second half. Syracuse has been offside 5 times today. That ball's going to find Matashak. Johansson, who's played an exceptional tournament, took it away. He's had to fill the void after the loss of Jim Garant. Players get tangled up. Morris called for a trip.
11, come on, Marco. Here they come.
And the sky appears to be brightening a little bit. Maybe we'll get lucky this afternoon, Sean. We haven't gotten too wet yet. The field hasn't gotten too wet yet. Maybe we'll get through this.
I didn't know what you meant when you said maybe we get lucky this afternoon. 36 and a half minutes to play. 1-0. Seton Hall leading on a goal by Ian Hennessy at 10:10 of the first half. Johansson kicked it into the Syracuse bench area. The Pirates will throw it back in.
Seton Hall thrown by Pat O'Kelly.
O'Kelly throws it into Massengill. Oh, incidental contact, and Steve Schaefer was called for a foul. That was weak. Free kick for the Pirates. Hammond puts it in play to O'Kelly. Trying to go around DeMonte. DeMonte kicked it free. He got tangled up in the foul called against the Pirates. Now it's Hammond carrying it back toward his own goal. Along the line. We're down to 35-20 to play. 1-0. Seton Hall leading. Mr. Johansson there for Syracuse. Had it blocked and taken away. Pass in the direction of Matishak. Paulson rides him off. Paulson takes the ball away. The Pirates will throw it in. The Pirates chip it in. Matishak popped it over the net.
Syracuse goal kick.
34-30 to play. 1-0. Seton Hall is out in front. Hennessy. Now Oceani for Syracuse. Drives it up the field. Nazario plays it back. Higgins. Higgins will punt it away. Morris. To Ron Dornow. Up the line it goes to Morrell. Hammond. It goes over the line, and it'll be a corner kick for Syracuse. You're looking at Rick Thatcher. He was the goaltender last year for Syracuse and the MVP of the Big East Conference tournament a year ago. Played a lot of gritty games in front of this crowd here at Storrs, Connecticut. Last year it was the Huskies he beat.
Syracuse throwing.
Syracuse throws it in. Mullen trying to move in, got stopped. And a foul called against Syracuse.
Syracuse push, Seton Hall free kick.
.33 minutes to play. 1-0 Seton Hall.
Syracuse throwing by Steve Schaefer.
The Orangeman to throw it in again, Steve Schaefer.
How far is he going, referee?
Ball free at midfield. Mark DeMonte moved away from a sliding O'Kelly. Played it through to Kaloji. Now DeMonte kicked out and over the seats and everything over on the far side by Hammond. We're having some audio difficulties in the booth here. Some difficult to hear you, Scott. You have any insights you wanted to share with us that we couldn't hear a minute ago?
Well, I was just noticing that things are tightening up again on defense for Syracuse, or for Seton Hall. They seem to have picked up Syracuse's ability to set up some width to their offense and find those cutting lanes. And it looks like Seton Hall is putting an extra man back on the line and closing up those lanes just a little bit.
The Seton Hall Pirates ranked 9th in the nation, finished in the South Division with a 3-0-1 record in Big East Conference play. The only team from the South Division to advance to the Big East semifinals. Syracuse, Connecticut, and Boston College came out of the North Division. 17-1-2 the record for the Pirates. Overall, Syracuse 16-4-2. And this is the first ever meeting between the two schools. Hughes. And it went to Matishak. He got dumped. Hennessy, his shot. It went over the net. Hennessy bidding for his second goal of the game and 6th of the tournament. It was deflected over the net, and it'll be a corner kick for the Seton Hall Pirates. 12 shots now for Seton Hall to 6 for Syracuse. And Ralph Pasquarella comes back in for the Orangemen. Scott Oceani heads off.
And again, that was some real good communication work between Matashak and Hennessy, as Hennessy was trailing the play very well, and as soon as it rebounded in front of the goal, he was there to pick it up.
Off the corner for Seton Hall. It's headed away by Steve Schaefer. Greg Kaloji picks up the free ball. Orangemen pushing forward in a hurry. Damani out to Kaloji. Kaloji had to avoid the sliding Massengill. Couldn't get it through to Morris. Alfano took it away. Ahead to Matashak. Matashak with Johansson in his face. Johansson blocked it. Matashak with it. Again blocked by Johansson and kicked out. It'll be thrown back in by the Pirates of Seton Hall. They lead 1-0. 30 minutes to play in the second half. It's the Big East Conference Championship game from the Connecticut Soccer Stadium in Stores. Sean McDonough along with Scott Gray. Matashak had it blocked out by Paulson. And Seton Hall has another corner kick. 7th of the afternoon for the Pirates. Skies brightening, but a slight drizzle still falling. Breeze has died down, still slightly at the back of the Syracuse University Orangemen. Off the corner, it goes back out to Murphy. He leaves it for Haig. His shot sails over the net. And it's a goal kick for Chris Whitcomb and the Syracuse University Orangemen. Whitcomb's been leaving them for Johansson to kick away. This time it's Paulson coming back to put the ball in play. Fred Paulson for Syracuse has played a very steady tournament. He's a sophomore from Verona, New Jersey.
This time as Syracuse comes downfield, let's see if we can pick up a little bit of what Seton Hall has picked up. Well, we'll have to wait until Syracuse can sustain it into the offensive third.
Alfano sent it out to the wing. No one home for Seton Hall. It was deflected out, and the Pirates will throw it in. In it goes to Hughes, back to O'Kelly, to Hughes. Hughes stopped, and a hold called against Schaefer. Schaefer must have gotten the attention of Michael Sanders, the referee, early, because he's been called for some of the chintziest fouls that we've seen all season here in the second half.
Really, he's called a lot of incidental contact here. And that is part of what's made it difficult for Syracuse to sustain things. They had some pretty good offensive opportunities early in the second half here, but I think that Seton Hall picked up what was creating those opportunities, plugged the hole, and it's made it difficult for Syracuse the last couple of times down as they've had to adjust, and they're going to have to look for a new offensive opening.
Speaking of incidental contact, there's another push called this time against Seton Hall, and didn't really seem to be much there.
But what Syracuse was doing was they were getting Greg Kaloji one-on-one with the freshman Nazario in the left corner, and a couple of times Kaloji really set up some great opportunities from that corner in front of the net. The last couple of times downfield, with Kaloji being the senior,
Whitcomb makes the diving play.
Too often one-on-one with Nazario. Nazario's going to get beat, and it's going to hurt you. And what Seton Hall has done the last couple of times down is they've gotten 5 men back, and as soon as Nazario and Kaloji get one-on-one, Brian Hammond is peeled over to make it 2-on-1, and it's sort of made it a little bit more difficult for Kaloji to work the play back toward the middle. And I think that's what stymied Syracuse the last couple of times downfield.
Well, I made the point yesterday that Syracuse doesn't really do a very good job of supporting their forwards when the ball goes forward. Midfielders usually lagging way behind the play, and it's very hard to sustain any offense. Here's Kaloji trying to break in. He scores! Greg Kaloji! A great individual effort, his 17th goal of the season, and the Orangemen have tied it with 26:44 to play.
I think if we take a look at this, I think that maybe we're going to see Higgins committing a little bit too much on this ball. I think he should have relied a little bit more on the defender in front of him. Watch Kaloji breaking in one-on-one here, again with Nazario. Nazario had an opportunity to get that ball cleared away. Higgins, I think, actually got in his way a little bit, and Kaloji had a wide-open angle because Higgins was so close to him to just put it right by him with actually just a sliding poke.
Greg Kaloji adding to his Syracuse season single-season scoring record. That's his 17th goal of the season for the senior from Ludlow, Massachusetts.
And it's interesting that earlier Kaloji was getting open to the left side, so they were peeling off a man to pick him up instead of one-on-one, two-on-one left side.
Here comes Pasquarella onside. It's blocked by Higgins. Ball bouncing free. Still free, and Higgins has time to get back in. Hold called against Pasquarella of Syracuse, and Seton Hall gets the free kick. Orangemen seizing the momentum.
And it's kind of interesting that on that goal-scoring play, Kaloji, instead of going left, went right with the ball and took it right into the area. If he peeled left, he would have run into a double-team pickup. He just took the ball as it came in front of him and followed it right into the area. And from going in one-on-one straight in front with Nazario, Syracuse gets the goal.
Ron Dornow, the Orangeman, playing with a bit more fervor here after the goal by Kaloji. Made a great individual play. He got the left foot in there. You would have thought if he was going to get a shot off, it would have been with the right foot since he was running off to his right. But put the inside foot in there, got a foot on the ball, and slid it past Higgins.
And I do think that Higgins came out too far on that, because I think that he hindered Nazario in his effort to clear the ball. Nazario might have even had a half a step on Kaloji at that point.
Haig to throw it in for Seton Hall. 25 minutes to play in the second half of this Big East Conference Championship game. You knew it was just a matter of time before Greg Kaloji got a goal in this tournament. Dornow. Morris. Mullen. Played it forward. It was knocked down by Nazario. Hammond had men coming on. Ball goes through. That's called offside.
I don't believe it.
Boy, that seemed to be a bad call from this vantage point.
I'll tell you what, Kaloji was behind Nazario at the time the ball was last played. You can see that he's upset with the call. Let's take a look at it. Now, right here, where the ball is last played, right here, you'll see number 7 play the ball. Where it's played, Kaloji appeared to be onside, and that's where he has to be onside.
See, Morrell can't believe it.
Yeah, where number 7 played the ball for Syracuse, Steve Morris. That's where Kaloji has to be onside. Not when the ball travels into the area, not when it goes past the defense. As soon as it's played, Kaloji can break past the defense.
Linesman, you need a cup of coffee, sir.
People below us asking the linesman if he'd like a cup of coffee, and I would have to say that they have a reasonable gripe.
Somebody wants to wake him up, I guess.
23:45 to play. 1-1 the score. Seton Hall and Syracuse doing battle in the 1986 Big East Conference Championship game.
You know, sometimes you can excuse a referee. He might get caught on that play because he can't hear the ball being played behind him, so he's just guessing on an offside. But in this situation, the linesman was looking across field at the play, and he had it all in front of him. And it really did look like Greg Kaloji held onside until the ball had been played by Steve Morris.
Higgins bounces it forward to Nazario. Morrell coming on him. Nazario gave it right away to Morris. Morris through to Kaloji. Kaloji will try the right footer, and Higgins makes the stop. You can see Kaloji almost held up there as if he was looking over at the linesman to say, is this okay? Can I stand here and take the ball?
Well, you know, earlier in the game, Seton Hall seemed to have Syracuse stymied with their picket line defense at the front of the area and from touchline to touchline. Syracuse seemed to get around that by breaking in a couple of cutters into the area. Then they peeled off a double-team defense to slow Syracuse down later when Kaloji kept getting loose one-on-one with Nazario. But ever since that goal, it appears that the Seton Hall defense is starting to come apart.
Nazario set up that last chance for Kaloji with just a terrible pass right onto the foot of Morris. It's thrown in to DeMonte. He laid it off. Morris took it away from Murphy, took a bump from Murphy. The ball went out, and they give it to Seton Hall.
Syracuse would do well to strike quickly right now before Seton Hall begins to regroup.
Kaloji trying to break in. He won't get there in time as Higgins gobbles it up. Less than 22 minutes to play in the second half. 1-1 the score. NESN's coverage of Hockey East continues this Friday. The Maine Black Bears travel to Durham to take on the UNH Wildcats live at 7:30. That's Maine and UNH in Hockey East action Friday at 7:30 here on NESN. Morris intended for Kaloji, sailed just a little bit over his head. The momentum has clearly swung in the direction of the Syracuse University Orangemen, but as we saw yesterday, the Seton Hall Pirates can strike, and they can strike quickly. 8 goals against Boston College. They just haven't gotten the ball at all to their main men here in the second half, Matishak and Hennessy. Syracuse has done a good job in stopping the Pirates at midfield. Haig heads it toward midfield. Dornow tried to send it back to Morris. Haig took it down. Haig played it to Matishak. He and Paulson bumped. Paulson chasing back after it. He'll play it back to Chris Whitcomb. Whitcomb's kick comes out at midfield. Haig and Morris. Haig headed it. Massengill to Hughes. Schaefer marking Hughes. They head toward the line. Morrell comes on to double team and bother Hughes. Morrell took Hughes down. Hughes objects, and they exchange pleasantries along the ground. So Hankinson, the coach of Syracuse, wave at Hughes in the background like, come on, you can take a better dive than that. That was a good shot.
It really was. It looked like Hughes was going for a few extra points afterwards, too. Watch this. Watch him go down on this.
You'll see Syracuse coach Tim Hankinson as the play continues. Well, we're not going to see the rest of it, but his reaction was really priceless. Hughes plays it out to Massengill. 19:40 to play. We're tied at 1. Massengill with Morrell right on him. Morrell slides, kicks it out. The Pirates will throw it in. Greg Massengill, freshman, Matukin, New Jersey, throws it in. Massengill chips it out in front, knocked away by Whitcomb. They were going after the tall guys out in front, Hennessy and Matishak. Kaloji looks to counterattack. Again, virtually by himself, and he stopped as Nazario took it away and played it back to Hammond, who sends it to Haig. Matishak had trouble with the ball on his feet. It was blocked out by Paulson. It deflected and root off Matishak. Morris taking a walk down the sideline. The referee sends him back, and Paulson will throw it in. His throw-in comes up short of his intended target, Mullen. Hammond with it. 18:40 to play. 1-1 the score. Syracuse and Seton Hall meeting in the Big East Conference Championship game here at the Connecticut Soccer Stadium in Storrs. Orangemen beat the Connecticut Huskies in the semifinals yesterday 1-0 on a goal by Scott Oceani. Seton Hall won 8-2 in the semifinals over Boston College, getting 4 goals from Ian Hennessy and 2 from Peter Matishak. Scott Morrell with room to operate. Plays it along the ground to Mark Damani. As usual, the Orangemen are looking in the direction of Greg Kaloji. Damani slipped as he got the ball to Kaloji at the top of the area. He spins back, gives it off to Morrell. Man coming on, Murphy moves away. Out wide it goes. This time the play is called onside, but it's too far ahead of Morris. And it'll be a goal kick for Seton Hall. Syracuse worked that well, but the pass was a little too far ahead of Morris. And Chris Wildminster, number 15, has come in for Syracuse, replacing Scott Morrell, who did a good job coming off the bench. Syracuse 1, Seton Hall 1, with 17.5 minutes to play in the second half. Hammond hooking line drive that will spin out to the line and over. Hughes nearly blasted it off our field mic down there. Now Wildminster, double teamed, lost the ball. Haig has it. Wildminster coming on from behind. He got it off to O'Kelly. Long ball from Matishak. Paulson had him by the shirt. He gets called for the hold. Overtime, perhaps lingering on the horizon here. We're down to 16:45 to play. Pirates in possession, out in front, and Whitcomb grabs it as Hennessy was moving in. Ian Hennessy scored the goal for Seton Hall at 10:10 of the first half from Pat Hughes and Peter Matashak. Greg Kaloji, an unassisted goal for Syracuse at 63-16, tied it at 1. The Orangemen have scored only 2 goals in the tournament, but so far that's been good for a win and a tie.
Come on, win, Stevie!
Out near the line it comes. Morris racing Haig. Haig lets it go. Morris couldn't get there in time. More clouds off to the left of your picture, and that's the direction the weather's been coming from today, and we could be seeing more rain here shortly. It'll stop for the time being. Sliding play by Oceani. Kaloji gathers it in. Wildminster, Morris, DeMonte, Oceani all racing up to aid Kaloji. Kaloji played it through. Nobody home for Syracuse, and Higgins has it. This is as fluid on offense as we've seen Syracuse in the 4 halves of soccer that we've seen them play.
But I'd say 5 yards further in for Kaloji on that play, and he would have been able to release all of his cutters into the area, and instead of firing it straight in, he could have fired it across, and it might have found somebody on the way through.
15-10 to play in the second half. 1-1 the score. Mark DeMonte takes the ball. The call is play on. The Pirate fans don't like it. Kaloji was obstructed by Nazario. Free kick for Syracuse, 10 yards outside the area.
Here's the obstruction on the play. Now you'll see it. Nazario just turns right into Kaloji and keeps him from getting to the ball.
Greg Kaloji comes from a real soccer family. His brother Chris plays for the Maryland Terrapins under former Syracuse coach Alden Shattuck. Shattuck had originally recruited Chris to play at Syracuse and then took him with him to Maryland. Free kick again for the Orange outside the area. Attempted shot by Morris, blocked by the wall. Morris got it back to Kaloji, but it's cleared away by Massengill. Johansson pops it high in there. That is clearly offside. 13:50 to play. Syracuse 1, Seton Hall 1.
Steve Morris showing a little bit of the foot skills of a soccer player.
And of a first-team high school All-American. Referee Michael Sanders walked over to him, told him, stop the show and let's get on with it here. Higgins objected the first time Morris gave him the ball. He sort of blasted it at him from close range. Blocked out off DeMonte. Seton Hall to throw it in. Schaefer sent it back toward midfield. Blocked off the chest of Oceani. His pass did not connect with Kaloji. Hammond put it back at midfield. DeMonte blocked it back. Hammond with Kaloji in close pursuit. Now O'Kelly. Hennessy ran into Mullen. O'Kelly has it back. Has it blocked by DeMonte. Joe Alfano, number 4. Ahead to Hennessy. Had a tough time getting moving. Here comes Morris after Mullen had broken the play up. Morris up front right now with Wildminster and Kaloji. Looking for Kaloji. Blocked by Nazario. That ball will go back over the line, and Syracuse will throw it in. Rain coming down again. Wind blowing at the backs of the Syracuse Orangemen. With 12 and a half minutes to play in the second half. 1-1 the score. Alden Shattuck recruited Chris Wildminster to Syracuse, and one of the reasons Alden did was just what you're going to see here, the throw-ins. He can let it hum. Ball bouncing free. And it's cleared away by Murphy. Blocked at midfield by Paulson. Oceani waves off Paulson, or rather Pasquarello does. Tried to chip it back to Kaloji, and it went past Kaloji. And Higgins has it in the corner. Here comes the wind and the rain again. Wind really gusting now in the face of the Pirates. Hughes. Schaefer in close pursuit. Really, the backs for Syracuse have been very impressive. We mentioned Jimmy Garant with the broken ankle a couple of times, the Northern Division Player of the Year for Syracuse in the Big East Conference this year. But Johansson, Paulson, Schaefer, Dornow, they've all done the job back there. Mullen, very steady.
I think really the only time that maybe Garant was missed was on that goal by Hennessy. On that particular play, Hennessy was wide open. There was nobody marking him in the area, nobody even close. But other than that, they've done an excellent job of making sure somebody has been with just about every offensive player on every rush into the area.
Down to 11 minutes to play. 1-1 the score. It's the Big East Conference Championship game between Seton Hall, the top-seeded team, and Syracuse, seeded number 2. The Pirates have lost only once this season. That was to LaSalle. Haig moving in, has some room, plays it through to Matashak. Matashak breaking in, he scores! Peter Matashak, the second leading scorer in the nation, gets goal number 23 of the season. And it's his biggest of the season. It gives Seton Hall a 2-1 lead with 10:32 to play.
That was all Peter Matashak. You give Haig an assist and credit for finding the right man to give the ball to in that situation. But you'll see that once Matashak got the ball, it was all his own effort. Now here's Haig with the ball. He's got Matashak, number 14, in front of him. Matashak takes it and goes right through 2 defenders, maintains his possession, holds his shot until he's got Whitcomb going down. As soon as Whitcomb goes into his slide, Matashak with his shot. Here's a good angle on it as he splits the defense, puts the ball out in front, actually passes it to himself, and as soon as Whitcomb goes into his slide, there's the shot by Matashak. What a great play. And as I say, give the assist to Haig if for no other reason than finding the right man to get the ball to in that situation.
So the Orangemen now have 10 minutes and 20 seconds to get the game tied. Haig assisting on goal number 23 of the season by Matashak. That's 79-28. Battle for the ball at midfield, won by O'Kelly of Seton Hall. Here comes Ian Hennessy. Hennessy through to Matashak. He couldn't haul it in, and Whitcomb comes sliding out. 9:50 to play. At midfield, O'Kelly had trouble with it. Koloji moved on. The ball goes to Alfano. Pascarella called for a foul as he bumped into Massengill from behind. Hammond taking his time will tee it up. Scott Morrell loosening up in front of the Syracuse bench. He will likely come back in next time the ball travels over the end line. Paulson out of the mud. Perhaps the worst spot on the field was where Paulson was. Massengill. Hughes double teamed. 9 minutes to play. Alfano. It's 2-1 Seton Hall. The Pirates looking for their first ever Big East Conference Championship and their first ever trip to the NCAA tournament in the 49 years of soccer at Seton Hall. 2 years ago, this team won 1 game. Last year, they won 8. This year, it's 17 and perhaps going on 18. After the game, Scott will be down on the field. He'll be speaking with the victorious players and coaches. Perhaps we'll grab the MVP. It would look to me like Ian Hennessy still has to be the front runner for that award.
I would say 5 goals in the tournament.
8 minutes to play. Johansson kicked it out. Seton Hall will throw it in.
Seton Hall thrown by Ed Haig.
Ed Haig. Scott is making his way down to the field right now. Hope he has his rubbers on his shoes so that he won't get them all muddied. You can see there's a lot of mud down there. Not raining at the moment. I take that back. It's raining very slightly at the moment. It's come in spurts. free kick for the Pirates. 7.5 minutes to play. O'Kelly plays it along the line to Hennessy. Tried to cross it out in front. Blocked. Out of play by Mullen. Corner kick, and that's the story. 8th corner kick for Seton Hall. Scott Morrell checking in for Syracuse University. Ron Dornow is heading off.
Seton Hall corner kick.
7 minutes to play. Out in front it goes. Whitcomb got a piece of it. Matashak headed it back. Whitcomb got a piece of it again, and it's blocked in. Another goal for Ian Hennessy. His 2nd of the afternoon. His 6th of the tournament in 2 games. 4 yesterday against Boston College. 2 today. Chris Whitcomb showing the frustration. And Seton Hall perhaps 6 minutes and 50 seconds away from its first ever Big East Conference Championship. Here it is once again. Whitcomb got a piece of it originally, and he made a great play to get a piece of that header by Matashak, but the Orangemen, as they tried to clear, blocked it right off Hennessy, and it went in. Ian Hennessy, the story of the tournament, 83-10, an unassisted goal. Goal number 14 of the season for Hennessy. He had 8 in the entire regular season, encompassing 17 games for him. And he has scored 6 in 2 games here in the tournament. Here comes Syracuse pressuring, trying to pull back within a goal. Dangerous play called against the Orangemen. Strad Oceani and Tim Hankinson very dejected along the Syracuse sideline. And you can see in the background on the faces of the Orangemen, they had the momentum, tied it at 1, had a couple more opportunities to take the lead. Offside a couple of times, a couple of miscommunications in passing. Couldn't get the go-ahead goal, and the Pirates, as we mentioned, can strike quickly, and they did. 5:45 to play. As we mentioned, Seton Hall was the much more likely choice to make the tournament, even if they did not win this match today. If they should win here today, and it appears right now as though they will get the automatic bid, and Syracuse will have to sweat it out.
Get out, Joey, get out!
Syracuse would be 16-5-2 with a loss here this afternoon. They were not ranked in the top 20 in the nation this year. Haig plays it back to Higgins. It has gotten considerably colder as the afternoon has progressed. 5 minutes left. At midfield, headed forward by Hennessy. Schaefer called for climbing the back of Hughes. Ed Kelly in his 2nd year as the head man after 5 seasons as an assistant at Fairleigh Dickinson. Perhaps on the verge of his biggest coaching triumph to date in his 2 seasons as head man at Seton Hall. Kelly came to this country in 1965 from Dublin. As we mentioned yesterday, served 4 years in the U.S. Air Force. Kaloji couldn't handle the pass. He's racing Nazario. Higgins way out. Sends it over the line. The Orangemen will throw it in with 4:15 to play. Pirate fans whooping up. They are sensing victory. Morris. Long pass across the field onto the head of Damani, but a little too high for him. Got his head on it, but it deflected out off of Damani. The Pirates will take their time throwing it in. Alfano, in a mild trot, will throw it in. We're inside of 4 minutes to play. Seton Hall 3, Syracuse 1. Ball goes out. Syracuse will throw it in. Ascarella throws it in. Hammond tried to blast it out. The Pirates will be content just to get it over midfield. 3.5 minutes to play. Clock stopped. And I think the referee, Michael Sanders, might have injured himself. No, he's going to stay out there. He bent over as if there was something wrong with him. But he's okay. Syracuse gets the throw. I think he just wanted to confer with the linesman about who the throwing should belong to. Originally, the indication was it would go to Seton Hall. Instead, it was Syracuse that threw it in. But it's Seton Hall back with the ball. Hughes. Matishak wide to Hennessy.
Come on, guys.
Hennessy. 2 goals today, 4 yesterday to Hughes. Long hooking shot. Great stop by Whitcomb. That ball was hooking toward the goal, and Whitcomb had to make the leaping play to poke it away. Here's another look at the shot by Hughes. You can see that ball was hooking back right toward the post, and Whitcomb showing great acrobatic leaping ability to make that stop. The Pirates really taking their time lining up for this corner kick. It's the 10th of the afternoon for Seton Hall. Syracuse has had but 2. 2:45 to go. Kelly not being pressured and not really upset about it. Throws it out in front. Whitcomb diving, got a fist on it. Morris and Haig in the air. Haig chips it back. Hennessy tried to volley it and missed. Now Johansson. This could be the final game of his career today if the Orangemen are not granted an NCAA tournament bid. Could also be the final game for the other Syracuse seniors on the roster, including their star Greg Kaloji. It's unfortunate that Jim Garant's career came to an end the way it did. No matter what happens for the Orangemen, he will not be available in the NCAA tournament. He is out with a broken ankle. After playing for 4 years at Syracuse, one of the greatest careers in Syracuse history. Oceani was stopped, had it taken away by Nazario, down to 1:45 to play, and as Oceani took the ball away from Nazario, he had called for the foul. Seton Hall on the way to their first Big East championship and their first NCAA tournament appearance. 1.5 minutes to play. The Pirates lead 3-1. A win would run the Pirates record to 18-1-2, and that seems assured right now, and Syracuse would fall to 16-5-2. The thing that might hurt Syracuse is a couple of bad losses to Brooklyn College and Providence. Hennessy was bidding for the hat trick, and his shot was blocked by Chris Whitcomb. It'll be another corner kick, the 11th for the Pirates. 1 minute to play.
1 minute remaining in the game.
You're looking at the probable MVP. I don't know. There'd have to be an investigation if Ian Hennessy isn't the MVP. We haven't received the official word yet. Goal kick for Syracuse. 45 seconds left. The Orangemen will not defend their Big East Conference crown, and this will end the streak of championships in the Big East won by Connecticut or Syracuse. There have been 4 previous Big East soccer tournaments. Connecticut had won 2. Syracuse had won 2. They had been the only champions of the Big East. Their reigns will end as Seton Hall will join the list and win the 5th annual Big East soccer tournament. 15 seconds to play. Mullen puts it in front. Ball free. Kaloji, a shot and a goal. 6 seconds left, and Greg Kaloji gets the goal that brings Syracuse within 1, but it's going to be too little too late for the Orangemen. Second goal of the tournament for Kaloji, and it makes it 3-2. But it's only a cosmetic goal, and Terry Higgins has no reason to pout. Good ball sent out in front by Mullen. It bounced back to Kaloji. He's a strong left-footed player, and you saw the shot that went just inside the post. Goal number 18 of his senior season for Greg Kaloji at 89-54. Hennessy put it back in play before the whistle had blown. No time ticked off the clock. All the Pirates do is hold it for 6 seconds, and they're the champion.
2, 1.
They are. Seton Hall wins the 1986 Big East Soccer Championship. The final score in the championship game, the Seton Hall Pirates 3 and the Syracuse University Orangemen 2. And Terry Higgins and company accepting the congratulations. Not a spectacular tournament for Higgins. He was scored upon twice yesterday against Boston College and twice today. but he made the stops when he had to. And the important thing is it's 2 victories for the Pirates, an NCAA tournament bid for the 9th-ranked team in the nation and the #1 team in the Big East. The Pirates now 18-1-2. And the Orangemen will have to wait and hope that the NCAA tournament committee decides that they are worthy of a bid to the national tournament. Heading down to the field, Scott Gray will be talking with members of the victorious Seton Hall team, and perhaps we can get a word from a couple of the Orangemen as well. The final score once again in the 1986 Big East Conference Championship game, Seton Hall 3 and Syracuse 2, and we'll return to the Connecticut Soccer Stadium right after this.
And now the 1986 Big East Conference Soccer Champions, the Seton Hall University Pirates. Accepting award, head coach Mr. Ed Kelly. Presenting the award, Big East Conference Director of Championships, Miss Linda Bruno.
Don't want to drop it today in this mud on that field. They'll never get it cleaned off. The Pirates will now pose for pictures from the still photographers. We have still not had the naming of the most valuable player of this Big East Conference tournament. And I'm very impressed with what I saw this weekend of the Seton Hall Pirates. They certainly have to be considered a contender for the national championship. As we mentioned, ranked 9th in the nation, suffered only 1 loss thus far this season. That was a 1-goal defeat at the hands of LaSalle, and I'm sure they played very poorly in that match, a match that you would certainly expect them to win. It was a 2-1 overtime loss. Again, Steve Kirshner.
All-tournament team from Boston College, senior forward number 10, David Sullivan.
David Sullivan had 2 goals for Boston College in the loss against
number 2,
Seton Hall.
Eric Brown. From the University of Connecticut, sophomore forward number 7, Dan Donegan. And senior back number 3, Chris Heath. From the runner-up, Syracuse Orangemen, sophomore midfielder number 21, Charlie Mullen. Sophomore goalie Chris Whitcomb.
Chris Whitcomb shut out Connecticut yesterday, made some big stops today against Seton Hall. Couldn't fault him for too many of the goals today. That's Charlie Mullen accepting his trophy from Linda Bruno, and now Whitcomb coming up.
17, Mark Dumont. And sophomore back number 18, Fred Paulson.
The coaches from each team are asked who they think are their players who belong on the all-tournament team. Interesting that seniors Greg Kalogi and Christer Johansson not selected. They were both stalwarts. Kalogi scored both goals today for Syracuse. Sometimes that can be used by coaches to build up his team credentials for next season. That might be what Tim Hankinson had in mind. No surprise that Ian Hennessy of Seton Hall is on the all-tournament team. 6 goals in 2 games.
Forward Pat Hughes. Freshman midfielder Greg Messengill. And senior goalie Terry Higgins. And the 1986 Big East Tournament's most outstanding player from the Champion Pirates Seton Hall, number 10, Ian.
Here's your most valuable player, Ian Hennessy of the Seton Hall Pirates, just a freshman from Cork, Ireland. Started the tournament with 8 goals during the regular season, scored 6 in 2 games here, 4 against Boston College and 2 in the championship victory over the Syracuse University Orangemen. Seton Hall victorious as the all-tournament team poses for the pictures. The final score, there it is, Seton Hall 3 and Syracuse 2. We'll return and talk to some of the combatants right after this. Is victorious in the championship game over the Syracuse University Orangemen by a score of 3-2. Down on the field, Scott Gray is with the tournament MVP, Ian Hennessy. Scott?
Thank you, Sean. We're here with a very wet but very happy Ian Hennessy, who was just named the tournament most valuable player. Ian, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You know, you had 8 goals on the season. You had 6 goals here in the Big East tournament. What was the key to all of a sudden getting open all weekend?
I think it was the actual Big East tournament atmosphere. You pick your game up for these big games. The team was prepared. We were superb over the weekend. And everything just seemed to happen. Just one of these days.
As it turned out, your second goal today turned out to be the game winner. Could you describe that?
The ball was floated in from the far side. There was a big goal Moat Melly just dropped, and I just pulled in it and popped it in net. 3-2, I'd say, you know.
It looked throughout the game today that the way your defense plays behind you, the way they set back there and keep the quick counter from coming against you, that it allows you and the other forwards the opportunity to be creative and take chances up front.
Definitely. Our defense is superb. I mean, thanks to Coach Kelly is a superb coach. They do, yes, they're like a blanket, like a wall, impenetrable at the back, you know, so we are free to do what we want to do and make mistakes because they can cover us at the same time. They're just superb, you know. It's a whole superb team.
Very young team, 8 freshmen in the starting lineup. Are you surprised at how quickly you came together to take over the dominant position in the Big East?
In ways, yes. In ways, no. We have a very, very talented team. But then again, one would expect seniors and sophomores, obviously, to have the edge over the freshmen, but obviously they haven't. But, you know, Coach Kelly has been absolutely superb as the wind blows.
Ian, again, congratulations. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to be back in just a moment with another one of those great forwards for Seton Hall, Peter Matashak. Right now, back to Sean.
Scott?
Okay, thank you, Sean. And with me right now, Peter Matashak, the other half of that tandem of great scoring forwards for the Seton Hall Pirates. And, Peter, you and Ian just seem to work very well in tandem up there, up front. You seem to have communication down to a T.
Communication down to a T, you could say that, but you can't forget Patty Hughes up in front, who's or Carey up in front, who's laying off the balls for both of us. And I would say the communication between us 3. He scored 12 goals during the whole season. He didn't score this weekend, but he laid off I don't know how many assists this weekend. And Ian is just a great player, same as Patty Hughes. And the whole thing is that we all work together. You can't mark 3 at the same time. So either one of us can score, like Ian didn't score the whole season. This tournament, he scored 6 goals. It's we are unpredictable.
Well, how about the play that you scored on today? Ed Haig gave you the ball. You really did the rest, right through the defense and all the way to the goal.
Well, I didn't have a great day today, so I had to make it up with something, so I decided to score a goal.
Well, it was a pretty one, that's for sure. You didn't waste too much time with that one.
Well, I had no other chance to go through the defense and shoot because it's very muddy there. You can't do anything except just shoot inside the box. And it was a great ball from Eddie Haig, a great assist. So overall, I just wanted to say that Eddie Kelly is doing a great job as a coach. And he made this happen in 2 years. I'm playing the second year now for the school. And the improvement we had in 2 years is unbelievable. And I hope we get going even better this year in the NCAAs. And next year, we're trying to go even further to go a couple of rounds in the NCAAs and maybe even win it.
Well, let me ask you the same question I just asked Ian. Are you surprised at how fast this young team came together?
I was surprised a little bit that we had such a great record because of a very tough schedule we played, but I saw it in the beginning of the season that we had great young players coming, even American players, not only Irish players. And it worked out well in practice, and we just won each individual game, we were very intensive, and we played the best we could, and that's why we were this far up in the league.
A young team. How do you expect to do in the Big East? I mean, in the NCAAs now with a young team.
There are other teams that are more experienced, but the thing we have is maybe the fight and the enthusiasm now that we're young and we want to win and we want to go all the way. So I think we have a good chance to go a couple of rounds in the NCAAs.
Peter, congratulations on your win here today, and good luck in the NCAAs.
Thank you very much.
Peter Matashak, one of the high-scoring forwards for the Seton Hall Pirates. Now back to Sean.
All right, thank you very much, Scott, and a good job down there. Congratulations again to Matashak and the Seton Hall Pirates. And you mentioned, Matashak and Hennessy both mentioned Coach Ed Kelly. No disrespect intended towards Syracuse coach Tim Hankinson, who was selected as the Coach of the Year in the Big East Conference. But it's hard for me to believe that that award did not go to Ed Kelly. As we mentioned, he inherited a program that 2 years ago won one game and turned them around, and this season has them ranked 9th in the nation with only one loss. And now they're the Big East soccer champions. Again, the final score here this afternoon from the University of Connecticut, the Seton Hall Pirates 3 and the Syracuse University Orangemen 2. New England College Sports Action is brought to you by